Soldier, keep on marching on. Head down till the work is done. Waiting on that morning sun. Soldier, keep on marching on. Oh, 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 oh,
Oh, it felt so good to be home. It's amazing how comfortable the familiar can be. We landed in Chicago with the sun, and I looked up surprised to see Nico coming out of the cockpit. "Nico's a pilot?" I asked Solomon as we prepared to leave the plane. He chuckled. "Nico's many things. Come on, baby, we have to bundle up. It's freezing out there." My dress from last night was a bundled ball of netting, vines, and diamonds. I couldn't even begin to try and put that thing back on. It's a good thing Solomon kept spare clothes on his plane. I was now wearing a pair of gray sweatpants, his black dress shirt from last night, and a pair of socks. I had the fur cape wrapped around me. When the hatch opened, I was surprised to see the ground covered in snow. I screeched as Solomon swooped me up in his arms and carried me down the plane steps and into the waiting black town car. Oh yeah, I was back in Chicago, because there was cold and then there was Chi-Town cold. I shivered on the seat next to him, glad the heat was on full blast. Solomon wrapped his arms around me, and then I heard my phone beeping in my purse. I took it out and was amazed to see that I had 20 urgent calls, all from Hadaria. I pushed play on the first message. "Stormy, you got to leave right now. Yosef is sending some of his goons over to try and hurt you. They're headed to the dorm. Somebody might tell them where you are. You have to go." The message ended. I pushed 2 to listen to the next one. "Stormy, oh my goodness, why aren't you answering the phone? You didn't leave back out the house, did you? Oh, Koti, please call me. I am so worried." The message ended. There were 3 more just like it. I pressed the button to listen to the 5th message. "Stormy, they're dead. Their van was hit by a truck or something. They all died, including yourself. Please, Stormy, call me. Everything is a mess. They're all dead." I hung up the phone and stared straight ahead. I've been going back and forth with myself over whether or not I had really saw Solomon snap Yosef's neck. He killed them. How did I feel about that? Those cold eyes of Nico's looked at me through the rearview mirror. Slowly, I turned to look up at Solomon. He was looking down at me, his eyes searching mine. He heard the messages. "Everything okay?" he asked. I nodded my head. I didn't know how I felt. In a way, it was a little scary being married to somebody that could kill so easily. I saw him kill Yosef with my own eyes, and I didn't doubt for a minute that he was behind the death of the other 2 guys that had come looking for me. According to Hadaria, the deaths had been labeled an accident because the bodies were found in a crashed van. Wow, that was a little next level, wasn't it? But for the life of me, I couldn't muster up one bit of sympathy for those men. They were coming to hurt me. And Solomon, had he not came when he did, who knows how far Yosef would have gone? Would it be my body they found somewhere? "Yeah," I told him. "Everything is all right." He squeezed me closer. "You know I will never hurt you, right?" I nodded, because I did know that. He would never hurt me, just like I know he wouldn't hesitate to hurt somebody that did. And well, yeah, I was good with that. We checked into the hotel, and the first thing I did was call Hadaria and assure her that I was okay. Then I got in a hot shower. The water felt good on my tired, bruised, and well-loved skin. What a night. The feel of a strong arm suddenly wrapping around my waist caused me to scream and almost jump out of my skin. Dang it, Solomon! I turned around and hit him on the shoulder, and it didn't help that he found my fear funny. I pouted up at him, folding my arms across my chest. I know it was childish, but dang it, I had a rough night. Baby, you a little jumpy, ain't you? He said, laughing down at me. That's not funny. I'm having a rough time, okay? He stopped laughing at me as if he knew he hurt my feelings. I'm sorry, McCarthy. Can I make it feel better for you? I turned my head, not wanting to give in to him so easy, but my body was already waking up to his suggestion. And, goodness, what he did next. Needless to say, he did make it feel better, and then me and him fell into a deep coma-like sleep, and we stayed that way until his phone rang at around 2 that afternoon. He sat up on the side of the bed. I took the time to admire his fine body. The brother was well put together. Storm, get up, we late. He's supposed to have been there 2 hours ago. His voice was groggy and still filled with sleep. I sat up and hugged him from behind. I'm woke. Are you? Not really, baby. I ain't looking forward to this. I told myself that I was never going to talk to my pops again. The only reason I'm doing this is because of you. I rubbed my fingers through his locks. Thank you. Thank you for doing this for me. I know it ain't gonna be easy, but you're fearless. You're so strong. I watch you with people and it's like you just command respect, you know? You're my king, and I know that you'll do what's best for us, even if it means talking to your dad. He pulled me around into his lap, and I laughed, stunned that he moved so fast. I'll do anything for you, McCarthy. You can bet on that. He kissed me then, and well, we lost another hour. But eventually, we got around to getting dressed. I was surprised to find bags of clothes where someone had gone shopping for us. There were his and her jeans and thermals. He had a fresh pair of brown Timberlands, and there was a pink pair for me. We even had new coats. Somebody had been very thorough. After we dressed and put food in our belly, we left the hotel to go to the Lion's Den. I must admit, I was super nervous to meet his dad. Would he like me? Or will he feel like I'm not good enough for his son? What is he going to say when he finds out that Solomon and I are married? Will he honor our marriage? Boss, this is as far as I go. Nico's words penetrated my thoughts, bringing us to a halt. What you talking about, man? We're going to head over to the Lion's Den. Come on. Nico shook his head. If I go there, Lyon will kill me. What? You work for me. That ain't none of his business, Solomon said. Nico shook his head again. You don't understand, but soon you will. This is as far as me and your journey go. I must now continue my journey alone. No, man. No, I need you. Nico gave him a sad smile. No, boss. You will have all that you need very soon. There's no more that I can do for you. Soon you will see me for what I truly am, and you won't be able to tolerate me, just like your father before you. And for my own protection, I must leave. Protection from who? Solomon was clearly irritated at this new development. Protection from you, Nico spoke quietly. Solomon opened his mouth to protest, but Nico cut him off. Know this. It was an honor to serve you, just like it was an honor to serve your father before you. However, I can't change what I am. I don't even know that if I could, I would. Please tell your father I inquired about him. And then he turned and left. Solomon and I stood there watching him leave, both with a look of confusion on our faces. Slowly he turned to look at me, as if to ask me if I could make anything of it. I shrugged and shook my head. Solomon told me that Nico had come to work for him as soon as his father had left. So I was just as amazed that he just would turn and walk away after being with him for so many years. Why do you think he's afraid of you? I asked as we got in the waiting Range Rover that was parked outside the lobby doors. Baby, I don't know. I guess we get ready to find out. I did a little dance in my seat when we got off the expressway on the west side of Chicago. I was home. Solomon laughed at me and shook his head. Boy, you just don't know how good it feels to be back in my hood. He said, looking around, frowning as he drove. This is the hood, all right. We pulled up in front of a gray building. There were windows, but they didn't begin to about 2 stories up. The building was plain except for a sign that hung over the door that said the Lyon's Den. Solomon helped me out of the truck, and we swiftly walked into the door. These Chicago winds wasn't playing, and their cold bite wasn't either. As soon as he opened the door, the warmth hit me, and something else. However, I didn't get a chance to ponder on it. Get down, Solomon yelled before he grabbed me, turning his body so that when we landed on the floor, I landed on top of him. Dazed, I looked up and saw 4 knives sticking out the wall where we were just standing. You all right, baby? He asked, looking down at me. How in the world had he responded so fast? And who was trying to kill us? But I couldn't ponder on that because in a flash, he threw his legs in the air before bringing them down to launch his body back to his feet, where he was fending off swift blows from a slightly built man who was trying to take his head off. The man seemed to float in the air. He jumped on chairs and tables without seeming to touch them at all. As he came down with a kick that had not Solomon ducked would have taken him out. Solomon fended him off and managed to take off his coat so that he could move more fluently. Wow, I knew he worked out and could fight, but dag, his skill level was amazing. More daggers whizzed through the air, and each one aimed at Solomon's chest. In just a nick of time, he dropped into a flip kick thingy that the floating man dodged. Then a big man with a sword came at him next. Solomon picked up one of those steel chairs, using it as a shield and a weapon. The big man would swing. Solomon would use the chair to block, and then his strong muscle arm would flex as he would just as swiftly swing the chair back, always just avoid hitting the man. More daggers came at him. My mouth dropped as I watched him dodge those jet blades while still fending off the big man. Another man who wore a cop badge came at him, swinging to do damage, and amazingly, Solomon fended them off. More blades sailed through the air. He went back on his hands, dodging the blade before taking out the big guy's legs with a sweep. What do you know? Hell, I married Bruce Lee on steroids. Then I came to my senses. I was still here on the floor, being shocked and amazed by my husband's ability, while he was trying to fight to save us. What was I doing? I jumped to my feet, looking around for a weapon, anything. I grabbed a chair and held it up over my head. And right when I was about to let out my battle cry and try to crack somebody's head open, a deep voice said, "That's enough." Instantly, the fighting came to a stop. The 3 men stood at attention. Neither of them winded. However, Solomon was bent over with his hands on his knees, breathing really heavy. I can't believe he held these men off. But why were they trying to kill him? The sound of paws on the hard floor drew my attention. I turned in terror, shot up my spine and belly. Walking from around the ring was the biggest, meanest looking freaking lion I had ever seen. But the power came from behind him. I lifted my eyes and my knees buckled because the biggest, meanest, toughest, roughest man I had ever seen casually walked behind him. The frown on his face was terrifying, and it was aimed at Solomon, who, when he saw the man, quickly stood up straight as if he was going to try and fight him off. Baby, maybe we should go. I don't think this is a good idea, I said for Solomon's ears only. But I did not dare take my eyes off the phenomenal coming our way. This man would kill Solomon. There was no doubt. Dear Yah, why had Solomon brought us here? I clutched my chair and edged closer to my husband, because he was going to have to kill me too, because there was no way I was letting Solomon face this giant of a man alone. The men moved to the side so that he could walk past. Solomon held his head up and poked his chest out, standing his ground. Foolish man! Dang it, he was going to kill us. He didn't come to a stop until he stood face to face with my foolish husband, his fierce frown making my knees shake. And then his frown turned into a grin before he snatched my husband off his feet and into a bear hug that I was sure was going to leave bruises. Solomon groaned. Yeah, it looked like it hurt. My bones, he moaned. What's going on with you, Junior? I am so glad to see you again, son. You know you was my best pupil, the giant said, putting Solomon back on his feet. Yeah, I see you haven't changed your welcome policy either. Holding his ribs with one hand, my Ish used his thumbs to point at the other three guys who attacked him. Well, you know, I had to see if you had forgotten anything I had taught you. No, sir. Man, Lyon, it's good to see you again. Man, you don't look like you aged a day, bruh. Oh, so this is the famous Lyon. Okay, so I know that y'all was like me. When Solomon talked about this man being the thug version of the Hulk, I know, like me, y'all found that funny. But seeing is believing. This man was very powerful. You couldn't be in his presence and not sense it. His muscled arms looked like tree trunks, clearly deadly weapons. No kidding. This man could like break your neck with one punch. He wasn't like freakishly big like some of those bodybuilders you see, you know, with the real big body and the real skinny heads. Nah, his build was more natural looking. No steroids and crazy muscles for this one. Lyon, this is my wife, Stormy. Lyon looked shocked at first, and then he broke out into a big grin before coming towards me as if he was going to hug me. Oh, no, you don't. I very calmly stepped in back of Solomon. There was no shame in my game. I was not a man to puff up my chest. If this man hugged me like he had just hugged my Ish, he would crush every bone in my body. I could hear female laughter coming from the back. Girl, I don't blame you for running. The first time he touched me, he almost killed me. I peeked from behind Solomon's back to see a beautiful brown-haired woman coming from the back wearing a cargo skirt and a Hulk Smash t-shirt. How ironic. She came to stand next to the giant. He wrapped one of those tree choppers he called an arm around her little waist. He loved her. It was clear in the way he looked down at her. And when he touched her, his touch was gentle. I watched it, amazed that something so rough could be so gentle. Solomon laughed. Come on, baby. Come from behind me and meet my teacher and Nuria, my wife, Lyon supplied. Solomon moved me from behind him to stand beside him because my legs didn't seem to want to move. I guess they needed a little help. This is what I get for laughing at him when he tried to warn me on the plane about this man. Lyon, you scared the poor thing, Nuria scolded, looking at me with sympathy. Y'all, I still ain't managed to speak a word. Now, how many people come in contact with a real life lion and focus on anything else other than that? Not many, right? So, when I tell you that, I couldn't even focus on the cat because his master was like nothing I had ever seen before. Please believe me. I don't think he's all the way human, if you know what I mean. What's this? Who's scaring my new daughter-in-law? Solomon's body tensed. Lyon and his wife moved to the side, and a man that could be Solomon's twin stood there. This was clearly his father. Solomon was taller than him, a bit broader in the shoulders. The older man had gray in his beard, but outside of that they were identical. Well, except for their eyes. Although the same color, the same shape, there was something in his father's eyes that only age and experience could put there. "Shalom, Junior," he said, and I can tell that he wasn't sure what kind of greeting he would get from his son. But now I know where Solomon got his confidence from. His father oozed it. He had "Fixer Man" written all over him. "Pop," my Ish responded, very tight-lipped. Oh goodness, this was not beginning well. Solomon had some real anger toward his father, and I guess I can understand. When my mother dropped me off on my Ema steps and just turned and left, I could remember feeling a pain that I had thought would never heal. And if it hadn't been for Yah, it probably wouldn't have. The others kind of faded to the back a little to give the men their space, but Solomon clutched me tightly to his side. I put my hands on his chest, and his heart was beating very fast. "You're looking good, son," Senior said. Solomon didn't respond. I looked up at him and I saw the anger and the pain in his eyes. I rubbed his chest. He looked down at me and I knew he didn't want to be here right now. I smiled up at him. "You can do this," I said, only so that he can hear me. He nodded slightly before looking back up at his father. "This is Stormy, my wife. Stormy, this is he inhaled. "My father, Solomon." Tears filled the older man's eyes, although they didn't fall. He smiled at me. "Shalom, Bach. It's good to meet you." He held his arms open for me. Solomon clutched me tighter. "Okay." I reached out and I took Senior's hand in mine, shaking it instead. His father didn't miss his son's reaction. "It's really good to meet you too," I told him. "So, are you guys hungry? I have some chili cooking, and it's the perfect day for it." Nuria's voice sliced through the tension in the room. "Here, let me help you," I said to her. I looked up at Solomon because he still had a locked grip on my waist. "Baby, I'm going to go and help Nuria in the kitchen. You need to talk to your father. Tell him what's going on, okay? You can do this." He nodded down at me, although his grip was still iron tight around my waist. I stood on my toes and I kissed him gently on the lips. "You can do this." And then I forced his arm from around my waist. I smiled at Senior as I passed, peeked over to Lyon, but thought better of that, and followed Nuria to the Gem's kitchen. I was trying my best to hold it together. He stood in front of me with that cocky smile on his face, like my anger wasn't real, like it was something minor, like I would somehow get over him abandoning me. I will never forget it, and I will never forgive him for it. "Son, you want to have a seat?" he asked, sensing my hostility. "Nah, I stand." Okay. "Hey, Ox, can y'all give us a..." "Nah, don't leave. I didn't come here for a family reunion. I came to get some answers. And Lyon could probably help. After all, he was more of a father to me than you ever were." "Junior," Lyon began. "No, Ox, that's okay. He's welcome to his opinion." My father opened his arms. "So why you here? Why you come to me, Junior?" I looked around at faces that I haven't seen since childhood. Faces that I had never thought to see again. Why did I come to him, he asked. There just was no other place for me to go. I had to protect Stormy, and I didn't know how. But I didn't tell my father any of that. "The preacher came to see Stormy last night," I told him instead. This got all 6 men's attention. They all took a seat. The twins, Tumo and Baya, whose knives greeted us when we came in. Stormy didn't know, but if they wanted us dead, we would be. The big Ak who worked the sword like it was an extension of his own arm. Adam the tracker. and Daniyah, who I believed could walk on smoke. They were all ears now. Go ahead, Junior. Start from the beginning, my dad said. Mom threw me a birthday party yesterday, and I wasn't going to bring Stormy. You know how wild those parties can be. Was she serving the witch's brew? My pop asked. Yeah, man, she had that stuff flowing like water. Witch's brew? Lyon asked. It's something my ex-wife was notorious for. Nobody knows the recipe, but it's made her parties famous. The wealthy from all over the world covet invitations to one of her parties just to experience the legendary drink. Man, this stuff make ecstasy look like a vitamin. What? You had your wife there? Lyon asked, looking at me with disapproval on his face. I know. My pride had got pricked earlier, and I just made a stupid decision. Anyway, I had had a couple cups of it, and so had Stormy, but she didn't react to it the way everybody else did. She looked at me like I was a monster. I frowned, remembering the look she gave me. It tore at my heart. For a moment, I forgot I had an audience as I got lost in my own thoughts. Then she ran from me, I told them, as I pressed my hands against my eyes, trying to get the image of her running from me, looking at me like she did out of my head. I chased after her, I continued. And when I got to the door, there, down the stairs, holding a taxi cab door open for Stormy, was the preacher. And he looked at me, and for a minute I thought he was going to kill me, you know? It was something in that look he gave me that let me know I had messed up bad. I didn't deserve this girl. She's real special, you know what I mean? Anyway, Nico ran and got the car, and then it just got weirder from there. The preacher dropped her off at her dorm in the middle of the night and just left her there. When I got there, she was being attacked by this Moray. Moray? Lyon asked. Like a Hebrew teacher? I nodded. Why would a Moray be attacking Stormy? My pops asked. He wanted to marry her, and she wouldn't marry him. Wait, Stormy knows she's a brew? Lyon asked, surprised. I nodded again. Yeah, man, she knows. She got me praying before I eat. I smiled. She threw away all my shrimp and lobster in my fridge. She makes me something she calls a pot once a week because she said it's a rite of passage for Hebrews. Lyon looked over at my father, who looked back at him, a slight smile on his face. And you married her? Lyon asked carefully. I nodded. She's mine, and that's non-negotiable. And the preacher, he came and picked her up. The preacher came for her. He was waiting there with a taxi when she ran. But wait, things got crazier. So like I said, this Moray is hitting Stormy. I see red. I snatch him up off of him, and I'm hitting this punk. He gets to speaking in this crazy devil voice. My pop's eyes flew to Lyon's again. What? I asked him. What do you know? Son, first tell me what he said to you. I frowned as I tried to remember. He said, Solomon, what do I have to do with you? And something about me being weak because I didn't know what to do. Oh, hallelujah, my father yelled, holding his hands up looking at the ceiling. Hallelujah! Tears began flowing down his eyes. Heavenly Father, he said, falling to his knees. Todayah for my boy, he yelled this. I looked at Lyon, who was looking at me with a grin on his face, nodding his head as if I guessed the right answer. What the hell was going on? My father was having some kind of breakdown where he was crying out and thanking Yah. I turned to look at the big eye. Hey man, what I miss? It's time, Junior. You've been called, little brother. After today, your life ain't gonna never be the same.